20 shouldn't feel much different from 19. I mean, it's definitely not 21. I still can't legally drink, and I still can't become an Uber driver. Yet 20 feels scary. Life at this age shouldn't be scary. I can name a billion much more terrifying things. Snakes, that one time I almost fell off a tower in a foreign country, or, growing up in the midst of a pandemic. Until now, where I've come to realize that our fragile mortality, our impending doom, are probably the scariest of them all. You will inevitably cease to exist IRL, and your life, in all its frighteningly short-lived glory, will one day come to an end. With all this time I've had to not do normal 20-year-old things, I've been doing a lot of thinking. Everything in life is a product of our choices. The good moments, the gut-wrenching moments, the moments that make our heart want to explode, they're all ours to make. The end is unavoidable, but everything else, that's fair game. We won't be able to predict what comes next, which is absolutely terrifying. But I'd like to think that's part of the appeal of being human. Life is short and scary, but it's still our life. And for all my Disney kids out there, life is what you make it. So let's make it right. When I was young, I felt like I would live forever, which honestly sounds like the worst cliche ever. My childhood consisted of days spending watching Monsters, Inc. and Mulan, playing undercover special agent under the cover of the wooden dining table, and stealing raw vegetables when I thought my mother wasn't looking. Contrary to past actions, no, I am not a vegan. I didn't venture outside too much, and now's where I should say something really deep about this, but honestly, even I don't know why. Maybe subconsciously I equated the outdoors with the unknown. Or maybe I just like the air conditioning a little too much. Your choice. I didn't ever want life as I knew it to change, and my naivete convinced me it never would. The walls of my house were impenetrable, the metaphorical moat that the outside world could never, ever cross. I was untouchable.
We have to stay in school now. After you're done, you have to go again tomorrow.
But just like failure and heartbreak, it was unavoidable. The moment where the dust settled and the Disney magic died, the realization that reality as I knew it would never stay the same.
Come on, it's easy. You can just write. Plus 5.
And then finally, I was a teenager. Can I get a round of applause for that? The magic 13, which coincidentally was my lucky number, is my lucky number. A wonderful time where I realized I possessed a total of 2 brain cells and absolutely not a shred of common sense. Teen me was not your typical teenager, and I'm not just saying that to be quirky. I spent a solid 8 years playing hardcore softball, 10 total if we're getting technical. Practice, tournaments, rinse, repeat. And did I mention I was a pitcher? As someone who had major anxiety and confidence issues, I truly wonder what possessed me to go for that. A position where you literally hold the fate of the game in the palm of your hand. Don't mind me, I'm just being a tad dramatic. But seriously, people say overconfidence is a curse, but no one ever mentions what a lack of confidence will do to you. I would get tragically nervous when I knew I was going to be pitching. My palms were an oasis, and I really wish they could have been the desert. I was good, but I never believed I was good enough. And it wasn't just on the field. In school, I hated presentations and public speaking with a passion. Speaking to strangers was not my forte. And honestly, I would have been content flying under the radar for the rest of my life. And here's where it gets a little tricky, because at some point, I just wasn't okay with that. I know it sounds absolutely insane, but I just wasn't. There were probably so many small things that led up to this self-proclaimed 180. But we would be here forever if I listed them all. Part of me wants to believe it was maturity, a side effect of getting older. But most of me knew that I was letting fear rule me, and that I needed to stop being scared. So, I said fuck it.
You're doing what?
Don't put me in your vlog.
I think her name is Silk, so you'd be like Silk Parker or something.
I'm camera shy.
I'm camera shy.
You have a very important...
You're not in the frame.
No.
So how do we think about that fine?
hell.
Truly?
This is betrayal.
You started it! I mean, it wasn't as easy as that. Let's clear that up. It wasn't that easy. No one gets over the fear of putting themselves out there overnight, but I sure as hell could try. And bit by bit, I did. Accepted that being in charge was not synonymous with danger, avoid at all costs. That I could do things and do them right. Now, the doubts and insecurities that used to eat away at me only nibble from time to time. I don't always know right from wrong, but I know a little better than before. Those days feel distant now, like I'm looking at a prototype of myself. If 13-year-old Sam could see me now, she'd probably think someone took over my body, like some invasion of the body snatchers bullshit. But even though every tweak, every change was absolutely terrifying, it was necessary. I wouldn't have been able to find out who I was, or who I could be if I didn't step up and try.
So, trying to drive, and the car wouldn't start. I was freaking out. And it turns out, I just didn't turn on the car, like, enough. He's here! Hey! The MJ2.
It's gonna be a bad angle. How are we feeling about convocation? It's a lot. It's a lot. That walk was so long. Wait. There's so much milk. There's so much milk. Chug, faster. I'm gonna throw up.
You're an icon.
I can't stop burping. We did it. Thanks, guys. When all that's been said and done, everything I used to hate about myself, everything I currently love about myself, it was a conscious choice that I made, whether I liked it or not. It has made me into who I am today, and anything different would have, without a doubt, resulted in a different me. For better or for worse, I guess we'll never know. People are constantly changing. You think you've got it all figured out, and then boom, a sudden strike of inspiration, or the sudden urge to pack up and become a chocolatier. Yes, Switzerland, I'm looking at you. And when people ask for my post-grad plans, that's what I'm gonna tell them. I used to believe that in order to be successful, you needed to figure things out early. Be proactive, make a plan and stick to it. No deviation and absolutely no margin for error. My so-called foolproof recipe for success. And I'll admit, for some things that might be true. Some things don't need to be changed and can just stay the way they are. But life will pass by in the blink of an eye, and I don't want to spend it regretting what could have been if I had just been bold enough to make that change. I'd rather not have my what-ifs haunting me. If somehow, miraculously, my awkward younger self found the courage to change amidst the chaos, then at the wise young age of 20, so can I. I don't know what will happen, but I like to think of it this way. If I could do it before, I can do it again. I may not always make the right choice, but it doesn't matter. I'll continue to do it again and again and again until there are no choices left for me to make. And I can only hope that throughout every choice and change I choose, I won't feel regret or despair, but instead I'll be content and ready to accept whatever comes my way.
It's really early in the morning, and every year for my birthday, I like to get up at the time I was born. I know, but I like to do that and celebrate. And now it's time. Happy birthday to me. I'm 20.